8 houses. Not 8 blocks. Not 8 miles. 8 houses. 60 seconds of walking on a street she had crossed 100 times before. That is the distance between a normal Thursday afternoon and a nightmare that lasted 25 years. Angie Houseman was 9 years old. She got off the school bus at the corner of Wright Avenue and St. Gregory Lane in St. Anne, Missouri on November 18th, 1993. Her front door was 8 houses away. She knew every crack in that sidewalk. She had walked it every single day. She never made it home. For 25 years, the man who took her lived 3 blocks from her front door. His name appeared on a federal offender list 4 years after her murder. He was never once brought in for questioning. And the only reason he was ever caught was because of a trace of DNA the approximate size of a pea, preserved on a piece of clothing for a quarter of a century, waiting for science to catch up to the truth. Hit that like button right now. Share this video immediately because Angie Houseman's story deserves to be seen by every person who believes the system owes children better than this. Subscribe to Black Veil Crime Files with notifications on because we do not stop until every name is named. And stay until the very last second because what was found in the evidence box after 25 years will stay with you long after this video ends. Let us begin. Who Angie Houseman was. Angie Marie Houseman was 9 years old with blue eyes, brown hair, and a smile people said could fill a room before she even opened her mouth. Her neighbors called her happy-go-lucky. Her teacher said she was popular. Her friends said she was the kind of kid who walked up to strangers and made them feel like old friends in 5 minutes. She had plans for her life. Not the kind most 9-year-olds talk about. She wanted to be a nurse's aide. She wanted to take care of people. At 9 years old, she had already decided that helping others was what her life was going to be about. When she won a $500 shopping spree at a local toy store, she picked one thing for herself and told the organizers to give the rest to children who needed it more. That was Angie. On the afternoon of November 18th, 1993, she got off the school bus, waved goodbye to her classmates, and started the 8-house walk home. She was wearing a light pink coat. Her blue and white book bag hung from her shoulders. 2 neighbors who usually watched the children walk home from the bus were both unavailable that day. 2 small absences. 2 quiet gaps in a safety net that had never needed to be tested before. Angie's classmates walked with her for part of the route. They watched her past the 4th house. After that, she was alone. After that, nobody saw a single thing. No scream. No struggle. No sound at all. She was there. And then she was not. The search and what the dogs found. When Ron's truck pulled into the driveway at 5 in the afternoon and there was no Angie, no bag, no sound in the house, he and Diane went outside immediately. They walked the route. They called her name. Neighbors joined them. They knocked on every door, checked every yard. At 7:10 that evening they called police. Officers arrived and understood immediately this was not a child who had wandered off. Canine units were called in that same night. The dogs picked up Angie's scent at the bus stop and followed it down Wright Avenue, pulling hard with their noses to the ground. Then about halfway between the stop and her house the dogs stopped. Not slowed. Not confused. Stopped. The trail did not fade. It was cut off clean in the middle of a residential street. The scent ended where a vehicle had been waiting. 9 days later, 2 deer hunters walked into the Bush Wildlife Conservation Area in St. Charles County. They found Angie in the woods 50 feet from the road. She had been brought there less than 24 hours before she was found, which meant for over 200 hours she had been somewhere else, alive. And whoever had taken her had made a final deliberate decision to bring her to those woods only at the very end. The official cause of death was hypothermia. He had not ended it. He had walked away into the dark and let the cold finish what he started. She was still alive when he left. The forensic evidence made that absolutely clear. And she had fought. The frozen dirt at the base of that tree held the record of her final hours. Her footprints in the frozen mud. Marks in the soil that told investigators she did not stop fighting until she had nothing left. The DNA, the name, and the man 3 blocks away. 25 years of dead ends. False confessions. Suspects cleared. A reward of $250,000 that produced nothing but rumors. And then in 2018, a new task force opened the old evidence boxes and sent everything to the forensic laboratory with one question. What can modern technology find that 1993 could not? The answer was a trace of DNA approximately the size of a pea preserved on a piece of clothing for a quarter of a century. A male DNA profile that went into Cody's the same day the test was completed. The match came back immediately. Earl Webster Cox, living 3 blocks from Angie's front door at the time of her abduction. His name had been on a federal offender list since 1997. He was never once questioned. He had committed crimes against children in the park directly behind Angie's school. He had walked out of federal custody 11 months before Angie disappeared. And for 25 years he had lived his life completely untouched. On June 5, 2019, he was charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping. On August 20, 2020, he pleaded guilty and received life in prison without the possibility of parole. On December 2, 2024, Earl Webster Cox died in prison of natural causes. He was 67 years old. He served 4 years of his life sentence. Angie's mother, Diane, never knew his name. She died in November of 2016 at 52 years old without an answer. Her ashes were buried alongside Angie. Angie's stepfather, Ron, still has the pink bicycle. It is rusted now. The radio no longer works, but he has never been able to throw it out. Some things you keep not because they are useful. You keep them because letting go feels like losing the person twice. 8 houses from her front door. She deserved to make it home. Leave a comment right now and type her name. Angie Houseman. Just her name. Because every time someone types it, the algorithm reads it and the platform reads it and it registers in the only language the internet understands. That this person is remembered. That she is not a statistic. That her name is still in circulation 30 years after someone tried to erase her from a sidewalk in Missouri. Subscribe to Black Veil Crime Files with notifications on. Share this video right now. We do not forget and we do not stop. This is Black Veil Crime Files. I will see you in the next one. Black Heart.